tell you about my mom. She truly was a mother. There were 10 children in our family. But the thing I remember most about my mom, her strength. She was such a strong woman. My father passed and I had 3 little siblings she still had to raise on her own, and a farm. And she just took over all that responsibility. So it's just a very strong and a very dedicated woman. She made sure we got together. We went to Mass every single Sunday, our holy days too. And then during the special seasons like Lent and everything, we would kneel and say the rosary every day. So she was just a woman of God. And that's what I'd like you to know.
My mother was, everybody called her Aunt Kay. And all the relatives teased her because she had such a big purse, and she had everything in her purse. You skin your knee? She had a moist towelette and a Band-Aid. Need a quarter? Check. Want a stick of gum? She had juicy fruit and mint. Need a cough drop? Check. Tissue, antacid, aspirin? She had it. And fast forward to 1978. I had just married George Arnold, and he was accepted to graduate school in Arizona, and he flew ahead to register for school and find us an apartment. And my mother agreed to help me drive our car, an old convertible, cross country with all our wedding presents and everything we had in the world. And on the way, the car caught fire and burned. And my mother was driving, and I was in the passenger seat, and I had kicked off my shoes. And we got out to the side of the road, and we watched everything I owned and my husband owned burn up. And a kind trucker stopped, and he said, I can take you to a rest stop. And he looked at me and said, where are your shoes? And I said, in the car, they're burned up. My mother opened her purse. What did she have? A pair of flip-flops. I burst out laughing. I said, Mom, you're the greatest. She said, I know.
I've had 2 moms. My birth mother was a great lady, a great principal, and she was a great judge of character. And she's a little Irish woman. When she bore down on you with her eyes, I knew that I better change the story to the truth. And my stepmom, who's been my mom longer than my mother was, she also is a great lady, and she did a great job of taking care of my dad in his last days, along with my sisters, her daughters. They took great care of him, so she was a great blessing.
It was up to us to build our life. Mm-hmm. My mother made me believe that. So that's what I want to transfer to people. They've got to tell their kid it's up to them. And you'll be fully supportive. So when I went back to my mother and said, I don't want to be a teacher, she didn't try to change my mind. She said, now what made you decide that? And I told her, and she said, okay, let's see what we can do about that. So she's always supportive, and she never let us feel negative.
My mother is one of the most determined and independent and strong woman I've ever known. What I didn't understand while she was raising me was that she was teaching me that I could launch out and do the things I wanted to do with my life. I could get an education. I could use my brain. I could pursue the call that God was calling me to. And little did I know as a child the limitations that were put on her as a woman. And I never knew that, because she never talked about that. She just went out and did what she was determined to do, and by God, she did it, by the grace of God.
Hi, my name is Ann, no E. My mom was Aunt Elizabeth Sears Simmons, Ann with an E, but everybody called her Betty. Except my dad, he called her Tootie. But woe be the person who else would call her Tootie. You can ask Dick Vail. He found out really fast. My mom made the best crab cakes in the whole wide world. They've never been beat, as far as I'm concerned, and no shells. Her favorite color was yellow. Her second favorite was sky blue pink. We have no idea where that came from, but when the sky is that real pretty pastel blue and there are wisps of pink and maybe a little orange in the pink, that's what sky blue pink is. Everybody misses you and loves you, Mom. You're always on my shoulder, making sure that I mind my manners, go to church, say my prayers, and you keep me on my toes. Love you, Mom. Happy Mother's Day.
My mom just turned 90 last month, and I've always thought of her as a caregiver. She quit school in 6th grade to help with my parents, to help her parents, because her dad had left the family. And once she got old enough, she started to work. So she's always taken care of her brothers and sisters, my grandmother. She had me when she was 20. And she had 5 kids after that. She was a stay-at-home mom, so she always took care of us. Once we all grew up and started having kids, she started taking care of the grandkids, after school or whenever the parents were at work. Then she stopped taking care of them because she had to take care of my dad, who was diagnosed with cancer. That went on for 6 months until he passed. And then she had to learn how to drive because he was driver in the family. So she learned to drive at 60. And she started driving to Houston to my grandmother's to help them so that they could go pay their bills, go to the bank, go to the grocery store, go to the doctor. She did that maybe 2 or 3 times a month. And after a while, my brothers and sisters and I thought, that's too much. You can't be doing this much longer. So we talked my grandmother into moving in with my mom. So she sold her house. They added 2 more rooms in the back for my grandmother and my aunt. And then my grandmother got sick. She took care of her. And she passed away in 2013. And then now she's taking care of my aunt, who's 5 years younger than her, but she's in bad. She's not very good health. So my mom has always been a caregiver, always taking care of others. And it's just something that she does. It's just normal for her.